Okay, welcome to our international format interview. Today with us for our Perla community is Katie Gould, connected from Milan. Hello, Katie.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. We're really proud to have you because this time is a particular international footprint format, since usually we interview people, Italian people abroad. And today we have exactly the opposite, an American girl, an American women, young women who moved to Italy. So we are very proud and grateful for your decision to come here.
Well, thank you.
So Katie is really a young woman. She's only 25 and she comes from Arizona. And 1 year and a half ago, she decided to move to our country. So, Katie, let's start our conversation. My first question is related to your previous life, in the sense we divide your life before and after the decision to come to Italy. So, your life in the US. So, what was your daily routine, your family, a bit of your family, your background, your university, something about your life?
Yeah, so I'm from Phoenix. The only thing that you need to know about Phoenix is it is very big and it is very hot. So that's where I grew up. But I like to say that I'm from Flagstaff, which is where I lived prior to moving to Milan. I lived there for about 6 years, and that's where I went to university. And Flagstaff is a small town. Something a lot of people don't know about Arizona is that there are some parts that are at a high enough elevation that we get snow. And Flagstaff is a place that has all the seasons. It is surrounded by nature and trees. So it's not the typical desert that most people think of when they think of Arizona. So yeah, that's where I went to university. It's called Northern Arizona University. And I chose it because I really loved like the small town feel of it. For me, I always knew that I wanted to do something creative. So for me, school was kind of more of a personal experience rather than a very strong academic experience. And I really, really loved my time there. I loved being surrounded by nature all of the time. That's something that I really value. So yeah, prior to moving to Milan, I was living in Flagstaff. I was working as a graphic designer at a public relations firm, and my daily life consisted of walking my dog and hanging out with friends and enjoying my small town life, which is very different than my current life in Milan. Yeah, so something that's important, I think, to touch on from my past that I think would be interesting to all of your Italian community is that I was actually homeschooled up until the age of 16. And it was something that I know in Italy, this is not a common thing at all. And in Arizona, it's not super common either. There's the laws surrounding that are quite relaxed. But I bring it up because it's something that I think has shaped me a lot, especially when talking about the professions that I'm in now. Is that I had a lot of freedom when I was homeschooled growing up. As a kid, I was really into crafts and photography, and I had all these different passions that I thankfully had the time to explore. And my parents also really encouraged that. Um, yeah, and talking about my family, I'm very close with all of them, and they've always supported me in all of my hobbies and passions that I've gone through over the years. And yeah, that's kind of part of what led me to where I am today was because I had the time, because I was homeschooled to really explore my own passions. By the time I got to college, I had a blog and a YouTube channel and all of these things, and really got to explore a lot of creative paths before I ended up deciding to go into advertising in college.
This is amazing, Katie, and it's really, I would say, American style.
Yeah.
Since you all Americans, very young, you start doing a lot of things also during the high school.
Yeah.
So I have few friends there because I've lived in the United States for a very long time, and all of my friends were working, even if they were very young, especially during seasons, and so they used to work all the time. I believe it's a good way to start and understanding the value of working, on making money, on doing things on your own.
Yes, yes, definitely. I've always, as soon as I was able to legally work, which is in Arizona, the age of 15, I was like, I'm going for it. I want to make my own money. My first job was at an ice cream shop. So, yeah, I've been working since I was 15.
Yeah, I know. In Italy, it's not possible, but I agree that if you're doing something that is good, why not? I mean, especially for women, becoming independent is really a must. So
Hmm.
as soon as you become it, no, you know your freedom. It's really, really important. So congratulations for this.
Thank you.
Uh, Going forward in our conversation, so at a certain time you have decided to move from one of the most important country in the world, maybe the most important one, and a lot of people are wishing to go there and dreams to go there. And Katie, on the opposite side, decided to come to our country, that it's completely different. And so before entering with the cons and pros, the differentiation between one another, I would like to know why you have taken this decision.
Yeah, well, really, it was a very personal decision. I met my current partner while I was studying abroad in Brussels, and he's Italian. And so originally, when we decided to take the leap and to be together and be in a intercultural relationship, he was planning to move to the US, and he did for about 6 months. But the visa process is just so difficult. And so our only other option, if we wanted to be able to be together, was to move to Italy. So it wasn't something that I felt like I had much of a choice in terms of where I would go. But I've always been the kind of person where I find it really exciting to be in new places and to meet new people. And so it ended up being a really beautiful thing because I've started learning a new language. I don't speak Italian very well, but I started learning a new language. I've learned so much about new culture. And so it ended up being a very wonderful thing, even with the pros and cons, of course. But I think it's such an important thing as a younger person to have a lot of different types of experiences.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience in Brussels, where you met your actual boyfriend? Exactly why were you there?
I really wanted to study abroad. I had studied French in high school and a bit in college, and so I wanted to go to a French-speaking country. And the to be honest, the reason I ended up in Brussels was because a friend had told me about that program, and when I looked at all the programs in France, there were too many to choose from, but there was only one in Belgium, and so I decided to go for it. I was studying communication there. And it was such a wonderful experience, obviously, because I met my partner. But in general, just it was my first time in Europe. It was so much fun to meet all these new people, have kind of the typical Erasmus experience. Yeah, it was really great.
Absolutely. So another important step is exactly, to meet different people from different countries makes you more open, your mind open. Connections today are really important, and we know that we are all connected. Again, synchronicity, I would say destiny took you there, and also your partner that was there. So again, I believe that for your age, you have already taken a lot of important steps and a lot of important decisions. First of all, okay, moving from your country living far away from your family, then deciding to follow your partner in Italy because maybe was the the only decision to make at that moment, but it's really, I mean, responsible. So again, really great choices. And for a 25 years old, I would say that it's really mature. So again, usually we interview very, very inspiring people, usually also elder than you, older than you. So I'm really happy to have you here because you really can be of a great inspiration for younger girls. So thanks again. So,
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
so now we arrive to Milan, where you are based today, and you will also tell later on that you find finally also a job because now you can work there. But how do you find yourself after US, after Brussels, now Milan? It is our most cosmopolitan city in Italy, but anyhow is not comparable to maybe the mindset of Americans. I'm not sure about that. It depends. It's quite international city, so you can find a lot of different people. But from your point of view, from your experience so far, what do you like and what you do not like that much? So pro and cons to have come here, and if you can make some comparisons to your country with ours.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I'm really grateful to be here in Milan, especially because it is so international. It hasn't been too hard to find other English speakers. All of the friends I've made here are other international people. So there's a very large international community. So I know that's not going to be the same for all other Italian cities. So I'm grateful that we ended up here. It's made the transition much easier because in general, there are a lot more things here that are more similar to the US and more progressive in some ways. So yeah, I guess I'll start with the pros. Um, I think that living here, it's so easy to romanticize your life. It is so beautiful. There's so much inspiration everywhere. That's something that's really different than most cities in the US, where here the anytime I'm walking to work or walking my dog, I'm admiring the architecture of the buildings around me and seeing and the beautiful parks. And these are things that a lot of our cities are lacking in terms of architecture. Obviously, there's so much history and culture here. So it's really easy to feel inspired, especially creatively inspired. Um, so yeah, that's something that I really, really appreciate. Something else about Italian culture that I really like is I feel Italians really know how to enjoy the small things of life, of taking their coffee and spending a long time eating dinner with friends and cooking and kind of these things that I really appreciate that are the slower, the simpler, the smaller things of life that really bring you a lot of joy. I didn't used to drink coffee before I moved here, and now I definitely drink coffee. So that's been a big difference. And it's so good here. So that's definitely a huge pro. So the lifestyle in terms of this, I think, is very admirable. I think it's not only the cities, but also the nature here in Italy is really beautiful. I think that you could live a very nice and beautiful life here without too much money. To be surrounded by beauty here is pretty easy at any income level, in my opinion. Um, in terms of things that I've noticed kind of more related to business or entrepreneurship is I feel that here there's so much room in the market because there are a lot of markets that haven't been explored here. Um, to me, I find that really exciting and really inspiring and motivating because in the US, I often feel like markets are so oversaturated. Whenever I maybe have an idea for something or, oh, it wouldn't be cool if like I could create something like this, sometimes I fall into the trap of like, oh, it's already been done. It feels like everything's already been done before, which I do think is kind of not necessarily true. I do think that there's so much room for creativity, but especially here in Italy, there's a lot of things that haven't been explored yet. And so it feels kind of like a world of possibilities here.
Okay, great. So, but you believe that you think that you would like to become entrepreneur in the future?
Definitely. That's something I've always been very interested in.
Okay, okay. But of course, before you have to make more experience, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll, before I settle down, because, having a business is a lot of work. But there are things that I've done in the past. I've done freelance graphic and web design. I have a little jewelry shop where I make some jewelry every now and then. There's like little ways that I've kind of dipped my toes into the pond of entrepreneurship. But definitely in the future, I would love to own my business one day.
Absolutely. It's really, I mean, motivating being an entrepreneur, even because you can really put yourself in the business. And especially you are a creative person. So you said that there is a lot of space, yes, especially for creative activities. Because
Hmm.
if we think of what is going on, especially with all this technology going around, now with the AI that can help us in a certain way, but of course can have a big part, a big impact on jobs all around. So creativity would be, and it is really a must. So you are the right person in the right spot. Katie, today, finally, you said that because now you can work in Italy because of the bureaucracy, you have found a new job and the first job in Italy, even if the company is a Swiss company and the name is Fischer Bacher 1819
Hmm.
and is a really historical company. And also it is in the interior design, luxury design. Can you tell us more about this work? And you also tell us that you are really happy of it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really happy. It's very new. I've only been there for about 2 months now. And yeah, I what I'm doing there is kind of a mixture of a lot of different things. I'm part of their new international marketing team. So the company is based in Switzerland, but we have locations all over Europe. We have also a location in Japan. And these are showrooms and offices that showcase the premium textiles. And like you said, it's mostly for interiors. Um, and what I really like about this job is that I'm able to do a lot of different things. Since I started, I've done a little bit of photography, a little bit of videography, some design. I'm managing the website. So it's kind of a lot of different things that I really like because that's kind of my background, where I like to say I'm like a multidisciplinary creative. So I've had experienced a lot of different things, and this job really plays to that. So yeah, I'm really happy about it. It's been really fun to learn more about the luxury sector. That's something quite new for me, and especially being in Milan, it feels very fitting to be in Milan and be working in luxury. That's exciting, and I feel I've been learning a lot.
Can you tell us how did you find it? I mean, you are very young, you have just arrived from another country, and you immediately, I would say immediately, found a job and also a job that you really love it. So, how did you find it? How did you get it?
Yeah, I was very, very lucky. Um, it's definitely not easy to find a job here, and I think it was because I was able to make some connections. So, I since I've been here a year and a half ago, this whole time I've been waiting to get my permesso. It's been a very long process. So when I finally got it, I spoke with a friend of mine that I met at my local dog park, actually, because I have a dog and she has a dog that our dogs would play together. And she had told me when I first met her that she worked in brand design. And so when I got a job, or not when I got a job, when I got my permit, I reached out to her to ask for some advice about breaking into a new market because I really wasn't sure how things worked here and how they might be different than the US. And she was super, super kind and helpful and gave me lots of tips. And so I started cold emailing and applying, but it ended up being that she had a friend who was looking for someone who had made a post on Facebook that was very vague, like, we're looking for someone who knows some marketing, who knows something about visual design, maybe who can take a few photos, something very vague like this. And so she ended up connecting me with that friend, and that ended up being the job that I have now. So I feel very, very lucky. And it was all thanks to the dog park because that's honestly where I've met the most people here in Milan is at the dog park.
Incredible. So again, this is something that underlines the importance of connections and how valuable. That's why also we have created this community that put together a lot of different people from all over the world with different expertise. We really want to create bridges with all the countries, as many as possible. And also, yes, connect people. As you said, who knows? I call it synchronicity. Today I was speaking about synchronicity, and maybe this is the case. My second reflection is the importance is something that it's completely out of what we are saying, the importance of dogs and pets
Yeah.
because they are really incredible because we go around with them and we know more people thanks to them that without them. So they're really of an incredible added value. So yes, you have also to thank your dog in a certain
Yes,
way.
yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. I owe him everything because I would not be where I am without him. Yeah, and that's another thing I love about Italy. It's so dog friendly.
Yeah, in fact, I will tell you another story, but not today, about a very nice company that is now is a startup that is only connected to adoption of animals, especially to dog, but they are really amazing. So, Katie, to come to our last, not question, but it's more a suggestion that we usually ask to our host, to our guest, to end our call. So, what would be a suggestion that you want to give to a young person, young woman or man who wants to follow a path like yours in the sense trying experience, going abroad, trying different parts, experience. So, what do you suggest?
Yeah, I would say that when it comes to trying to figure out what you want to do in life, what path you want to follow, the first thing is to, of course, try a lot of different things. But then after that, if there's something that you want to do, you gotta share it with the world. You have to put yourself out there, whether that means you are interested in some kind of creative opportunities, you want to be an artist, you want to start a business, any of these things. I think that the most important thing is to put yourself out there. To There are so many opportunities out there, but you won't know about them until people know that you're interested. So especially when it comes to thinking about ways to make a living. There are so many ways to make a living out there, and more than they'll tell you in school. And in the age of the internet, there's so much that is possible. So yeah, put yourself out there, share what you have to offer, and see what opportunities come from that. And also, if you move to a foreign country, you should adopt a dog and meet people at the dog park.
I totally agree with everything you said, especially the last thing that you said. Adopt or buy a dog, and the game is there. So,
Exactly.
so Katie, again, you are a great inspiration. You are so young and you have already done so many things. So I want to thank you to, first of all, being part of our community, to have immediately said yes to this interview, that it's really important for, especially for the people who will listen to you. And again, we really wish you good luck. And also, I want to say that everyone from our community is here to help you in any situation you may need, especially in the business environment. So, thanks again for your time and yes, your sharings. So, thanks a lot, Katie, and see you soon lively, I hope.
Thank you so much.